Glad to be at the Riverwalk. I love this place. I wrote this piece in honor of the Riverwalk, and I'm glad. I always hope someday I could do this. I am a river walker. You'll find me on Jasper's Riverwalk at some time each day, come rain, sleet, hail, snow, or intense heat. With few exceptions, floods, lightning, business meetings, and other natural disasters, I try to take a daily 4.5-mile round-trip walkabout on this southwest Indiana wander. Long before the Riverwalk existed, in Tell City, I was born with a window view of the Ohio River. And to this day, I cling to the memory of a town bordered by wide water. It nestles my mind like a security blanket. Yes, I am a river rat. The river part of the Riverwalk is the Patoka, conveniently behind us. The problem is it's not a river, at least not to an Ohio river boy raised to believe if you can cast a fishing line across it, it is not a river. At best, the Patoka is a creek. Now, I don't mean that in a mean way, sorry, Mayor. There's nothing wrong with a creek running through town. Creek certainly sounds better than ditch. The Patoka is too wide to be a ditch. Not only was I born a river rat, but my family had a rural route existence. If a rural route boy knows anything, he knows his ditches. If a boy can pee across it, it's a ditch. If a rural route girl can pee across it, well, she's one talented girl who will likely go far with the traveling circus. I cannot pee across the Patoka, though I tried about a half hour ago. For the sake of community pride, we'll stick with River Walk. It sounds better than Creek Walk or Ditch Walk on our brochures. I've likely footed a couple thousand miles on its winding paved trail this century. I've seen ducks, squirrels, and generations of deer nibble at the corn kernels put there by World War II veteran Frank Ebenkamp. I've seen deer tails lift tall and white like surrender flags as they scurry across the crackle of forest floor. I once saw a 12-point buck swim behind a doe, their heads the only thing above water as they progressed. The buck all business, practically pushing the doe to shore, another generation soon in the making. I've encountered snakes, including the biggest I've ever seen outside of a zoo, that swam between mud bars down in the lagoon-like area below the small waterfall. It was the length of a car's width. A snake spotter beside me high on the bridge called it a copperhead, but he was wrong. As my uncles will attest, there's only one species of snake, the rattle-headed copper moccasin. I've seen the early morning silhouette of a coyote across the river on a fence-lined ridge. I've heard the happy honk of Canada geese directly overhead, heading home in that feathered arrowhead pattern way of theirs. I've seen that long gray blue heron ankle deep, bobbing for whatever. I've heard the rat-a-tat of the ever-returning woodpeckers, the same two, I think, every year. I've seen the holes they leave behind, countless meaningless carvings in the same barky canvas from base to crown. Woodpeckers are nothing more than frustrated artists. I've seen rabbit, beaver, mallard, fox, and groundhog, chipmunk and duck, crawdad and creepy millipede. A huge owl swooped down so close I felt a draft. If I had hair, I might have been a goner. I love September mornings when thousands of spider webs drape the bridge rails, cornstalk, and fence, different shapes and dimensions, each delicate filament defying the weight of dew, an arachnid art festival. I love the late autumn river's surface when the leaves fall and submerge in mass, their acidity turning the water ebony, giving the river a deceptively deep look. My shoes have sloshed with spring rains. I pulled and licked the stem of honeysuckle, kept a wary eye on the squirming dangle of caterpillars in the branches overhead, and I've heard tree limbs crack and fall from stiff winds. I once beheld a frightful vision. Just off the path, there was what sounded like a fire catching on forest floor. Looking down near a log, I saw snakes, too many to count, sliding through dried leaves. The heat of the first good sun of the year unearthed a whole nasty nest of them. They were in frenzy, the snakes, green and brown, about a foot long, slithered helter-skelter through the crackling leaves, sounding like match strikes, tongues flicking like serpents within serpents, sun drunk. We river walkers stopped dead in our tracks, transfixed by the reptilian reaction to a false spring. Our path, our safety zone, was breached at times, the snakes enjoying the warmed asphalt beneath their bodies. Surely the apocalypse was near. Ribbon snakes, a woman said. Ranger Rick, she wasn't. Clearly, they were rattle-headed copper moccasins. In mid-spring, familiar herds of chattering housewives, I see some of you out there, come out of hibernation, sharing recipes and gentle words about working husbands. River talk translation: I can't believe I have to cook for that jackass again tonight. Only they aren't saying jackass. I have heard the wonderless whir of goose wing in low-level flight, the monkey-like cries of the woodpecker, and the deafening cacophony of frogs in spring orgy. It is here that Froggy is doing more than a courting. I have seen hand-holding, a quick kiss when a bridge is crossed. I have seen high school couples walk and talk through what was likely the sweet calm of a first date, and I wanted to shout, "Bravo to you, rare youths, who listen without earbuds, talk without texting, each heart in flutter, in spin cycle, as a shiver runs through it." I found a shredded love letter once. Love's litter. Do people still do this, actually spill their hearts with paper and pen? I took it home, excited to piece together what might have been the last love letter ever written, this amorous artifact, but it was too tattered. That it was scrawled in Spanish made it an even tougher task. It was not good news for someone, but I would never know why. Just my luck, a Dear Juan letter. Rimshot. Okay, I have seen too many people walking while talking on cell phones. Cell phone proliferation makes it impossible to fully escape into nature now. Once, inside the Riverwalk's restroom, a man in the stall was talking on his cell. Without thinking, I turned on the hand dryer for my wet hands. Its sound was as subtle as a space shuttle roar, sending the man into cell phone rage. "I can't hear you. Some jackass just turned on the hand dryer," he shouted. "What? Yes, I'm on the toilet. Can you hear me now?" I wanted to shout back, "You're in a stall, not a phone booth, bucko. Relax before you blow an O-ring." But I didn't. His tennis shoes were large. It worried me, too, to be put into a stressful situation in which I was to address someone as bucko. Exiting, I intentionally hit the dryer's button again. Blame it on the river rat in me. And heard another explosion of expletives. Then I heard the frenzied rumble of toilet paper unwinding. I ran for dear life. I've experienced the splendor of a river walk, this handy path snaking through the wild part of the heart of our town. It's a good walk unspoiled and a great way to exercise and relieve stress, barring any rattle-headed copper moccasins or toilet stall psychos. Yes, I'm a river rat by birth and proud of it, but here in middle age, I'm just as proud to call myself a river walker. I cherish this river walk of life. I'll see you down here. I'm the one without the cell phone.